You'll love this. 2 nights ago, Trump posted a tweet of a live stream of his State of the Union speech, and he didn't tweet again until this morning, when this son of a bitch lied again about his speech's audience. This is what he tweeted. Quote, "Thank you for all of the nice compliments and reviews on the State of the Union speech. 45.6 million people watched, the highest number in history. Fox News beat every other network for the first time ever, with 11.7 million people tuning in. Delivered from the heart." End quote. You lying, miserable son of a bitch. According to Nielsen, the State of the Union was not the most watched in history. In fact, as Fox News pointed out after Trump's tweet, it wasn't even close, with the three presidents who immediately preceded Trump each delivering State of the Union addresses watched by more than 45.6 million people. So that means Obama, Bush, Clinton. This goddamn Trump cannot open his mouth without lying. Trump's lie about this State of the Union audience it's exactly along the lines of what the son of a bitch lied about his inaugural crowd size. Despite clear photographic evidence, there it was, aerial photographs, showing that it was bullshit when you compared it to Obama's. Trump administration spent the first days of his presidency insisting that, quote, "it was the largest audience ever to witness inauguration, period, both in person and around the globe." Remember when Sean Spicer said that over and over and over again? Trump lies about things like everything, like his claim that millions of voters cost him the popular vote. No such thing happened. He lies about small stuff like the penalty in China for shoplifting. It's not 10 years in jail. His lie about the State of the Union audience comes while his lawyers are trying to prevent the president from sitting down for a sworn interview with Robert Mueller. Because Trump is a fucking liar. A liar. Oh, my God. This can't go on. How is this republic going to survive? Well, I guess it's not. It's not going to survive, is it? These people on his cabinet, and you got to remember that the U.S. Senate confirmed these useless sons of bitches. Jeff Sessions as Attorney General? Betsy DeVos as Secretary of Education? Now, I realize it took the phony, fucked up Christian Mike Pence to make sure that Betsy DeVos was put in there to destroy public education, because DeVos, like Pence, they don't want this shit taught in schools. They want Jesus taught in the schools. They want Christ. They want God. Science, math, fake shit. Teach him about Jesus. Boy, I'm pissed off tonight. I am just furious. Because it doesn't stop. And it's not going to stop. God. And then I also learned this afternoon that, matter of fact, this came across CNN's website about 2:30 this afternoon. Top White House aides, I have no idea who that would be. They're all a bunch of fucking liars and cheats and thugs, especially this former general in the Marine Corps. Kelly? What a Nazi little fuck he's turned out to be, huh? What did he do the other day? Who did he call, Kathy, and warn them? Damn it, I'm forgetting the story, but it's never happened before, where a chief of staff in the White House calls, I guess they called the FBI, Christopher Wray, and warned him about something. It'll pop up here in a minute. Anyway, so-called White House aides, what a bunch of scummy fuckers every one of them is. Now they're worried that FBI Director Christopher Wray will quit if that Republican memo alleging FBI abuse is released. That's according to people, it says here, people with multiple sources and knowledge of the situation have told CNN. Now, Wray has already made it very clear that this asshole in the White House is frustrating him, Wray, because Trump picked him to lead the FBI after he fired James Comey in May. Yet, Christopher Wray's advice on this Nunes memo, don't release this. This is insane shit, and it could blow the cover of the U.S. FISA court all to hell. And you know what? Let me interject. Putin is sitting back in the Kremlin laughing his fucking ass off. This is so much better than using nuclear weapons on the United States. It's just shredding us. And I know there's still people out there who don't fucking believe the Russians have anything to do with any of this. What will it take? A goddamn hammer and sickle jammed up your ass until you finally realize what is happening? Oh, I'm sorry, they don't use a hammer and sickle anymore. They're not communists. They're fascists. They use the red, white, and blue tricolor of the Russian Republic. Okay? Anyway, Christopher Wray's advice on the Nunes memo is being disregarded, and it's being cast as part of the purported partisan leadership of the FBI. The head of the FBI is against Trump. This paranoid fucker, do you I'm sick of saying, do you understand? Anyway, Wray's stance, one source familiar with the matter said, is raising hell, quote unquote. Wray has stopped just short of threatening to resign after clashing with this filthy pig in the White House over the release of this memo. Because that's not his style of dealing with conflict, Christopher Wray's. His way of dealing with conflict is to try to sit down and work things out. But you don't work things out with a fucking psycho like Trump. You don't work out anything. You either play his game or get the fuck off the field. It's that simple. Trump was so happy with his reviews of the State of the Union. Hey, all right, reviews. Oh, my God.
All right, so can I read this? I can't find the right...
Now, apparently, the decision has already been made by this useless son of a bitch in the White House to release the memo. There's talk about some of it being redacted, which doesn't mean a goddamn thing. Nothing will be redacted that Trump can use to make it appear as he's so innocent, and all these big, bad, mean investigators are just picking on him because he's an illiterate fuck, and he cheats on his wife, and he's a liar, and he commits fraud and obstruction. They're picking on you, right, Donald? You miserable bastard, you. Let me see, what is... CNN puts it this way. I got to calm down. I'm just so furious. This doesn't stop every fucking day. It's just one thing after another. White House aides, CNN reports, expect a decision from Trump on whether to release the controversial memo on Thursday. Now, I told you we're recording this in the afternoon, so he may already have come out and said, yeah, I'm releasing it. Now, Trump's already made clear, what did he say on his way out of his pissy little State of the Union address? The longest one in history, which it wasn't. When he stopped to chat with one of those right-wing fascist pigs, those white boy Christians standing there waiting for Trump to come by so they could squeeze his hand. And Trump said, and the representative, the senator said, you're going to release it. Let's get it released. And Trump said, oh, yeah, 100%. So redactions don't mean shit. There will be no redactions that would not meet with favor from Mr. Trump. And it's certainly not clear if the redactions will be enough to satisfy concerns at the FBI. Good God. CNN reports that Trump has been subject to public and private pressure campaigns over releasing the memo, and told a lawmaker who urged him to release the document, that was the guy standing there as Trump was exiting, Trump said, don't worry. Another person familiar with discussions about this filthy memo put together by this pig bastard Nunes said that Christopher Wray didn't threaten to quit when he met with Kelly earlier this week and in numerous conversations since. But White House Chief of Staff John Kelly believes that's a real possibility. And Kelly says he's been working on a way to avoid another departure from an already turbulent Trump administration. Oh, John Kelly, you know, I'm just going to say, you're a lying son of a bitch. You have sold out your country, boy. You really have. You're a 4-star Marine general, and you went to work for this son of a bitch? General Kelly, you're working for Vladimir Putin. Do you not get that? What is this, 7 days in May? Is this a coup? And you're right there, General Kelly, to assist in it? Agents inside the FBI say they're happy that Christopher Wray is standing up to this asshole in the White House. That's according to several law enforcement sources. The FBI released a rare statement yesterday, if you remember, that said the Bureau had, quote, grave concerns, end quote, with the release of that memo. One person inside the FBI told CNN, quote, I think Chris Wray's motto is speak softly but carry a big stick. 1 point, Chris Wray, 0 points, Devin Nunes. Well, that was yesterday. And according to CNN, there is an understanding that Wray leaving the FBI could set off a chain reaction of events inside the FBI. Top officials there have been trying to identify who might be considered, quote, a Trump guy, end quote, in the order of succession in the Bureau's organizational chart. That's according to another law enforcement official. Wray's current deputy, David Bowditch, was picked to be Associate Deputy Director by Jim Comey. But Bowditch has a, quote, straight shooter, end quote, reputation inside the Bureau. And as a former Los Angeles executive at the FBI, he differs from some of the recent leadership ranks drawn from Washington, which means that David Bowditch might be even more inclined to resign when Christopher Wray does. Trump doesn't understand any of this. According to sources, Trump continues to seethe over the Justice Department's handling of nearly everything Russia-related. But much of that anger lately is directed towards Rosenstein. Guess who is going to be next? I think his initials are Rod Rosenstein. I'll be right back. Stick around. And you started out with nothing and you're proud that you're a self-made man. And your friend There are other horrific topics to address, as you might guess. This one is particularly scary to me, and it comes from Huffington Post today. A new report from the Anti-Defamation League found a 258% increase in white supremacist propaganda on college campuses in 1 year, starting with the time that Trump won the nomination in 2016. From that point until the same time in 2017, a year later, 258% increase. There were, according to the ADL, there were 147 incidents of white supremacist flyers, banners, posters, or stickers found on college campuses during the fall semester just passed, compared to 41 such incidents in the fall semester of 2016, from 41 to 147. The ADL also counted a total of 346 incidents of hate propaganda that had been spread on 216 college campuses in 44 states and Washington, D.C. since September 2016. Jonathan Greenblatt, who's the CEO of ADL, said in a statement, quote, "White supremacists are targeting college campuses like never before. They see campuses as a fertile recruiting ground, as evident by the unprecedented volume of propagandist activity designed to recruit young people to support their vile ideology." And you know what? It's a fertile recruiting ground for these young white people, which when you first come across a statement like that, I know it worked this way for me, it was just goddamn shocking. What? This is fucking America. White supremacists, white nationalists, who are strictly speaking fascists, going after our kids. This dirty son of a bitch Trump stands in during his State of the Union address and says that the people really going after our kids are these evil goddamn drug dealers who come in on chain migration and all this other shit. Trump would no more mention these neo-fascist organizations than he would cut his own goddamn finger off. But why are these kids susceptible? I call them kids. I realize they're probably 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Why are they susceptible? Because they come from a culture, the white-dominated American culture, that with the election of Trump doesn't give a shit, never did, about people of color. But now that white culture has permission to be homophobic, anti-Semitic, anti-black, anti-immigrant, anti-everything, except these burrhead-cutted, Nazi-saluting, cowardly fucks who walk around with their combat boots and their shitty Nazi signals and slogans. And I hate the fact that I'm seeing the beginning fires that are going to burn this country to the ground. I don't know how to prepare my daughter. I don't know how my son is going to prepare his two kids. I don't know how my daughters are preparing their daughters and son. So what do? Do you make sure everybody in the family has an AR-15 so that when the time comes, you can defend yourself against the Nazis? That's what the Jews should have done in Germany. Well, there were no AR-15s, I guess, but the Jews in Germany, like the Americans here today, the vast majority, just don't and didn't believe what was happening. Germany, one of the most advanced democracies on earth, were they suffering because of the Depression like everybody else? Yeah. Were they pissed off because of the Treaty of Versailles? Yeah. Were they enraged because they had to pay reparations to France and Great Britain? Yeah. So when the Nazi machine started to vacuum up all the good Germans, the Jews just couldn't get their minds around it. How could this be happening? This is Germany. This is the land that has produced scientists, artists, writers, composers, painters, sculptors, mathematicians, thinkers. This is Germany. And for some reason, I don't know whether the Jews at the time acknowledged it or not, but a huge number of those people whose professions I just listed were themselves Jews. But not all. There were German Christians in there, Lutherans, what have you. And then the Lutheran, I guess he was a Lutheran minister, Niemöller, who made that famous or sad or sickening or whatever statement about they came for this group and I didn't say anything because I wasn't part of that group. Then they came for another group and I didn't say anything because I wasn't part of that group. Then they came for the other group. I didn't say anything. Finally, they came for me and there was no one left to speak out to protect me. The Trump administration is doing the same fucking thing. They're just doing it a little more subtly, not because Trump is subtle, but because the pigs around him, including his goddamn family, they're being very subtle about it. If you have any doubt, what president of the United States could equate American Nazis with people who are protesting the American Nazis with a statement like, yeah, both sides have good people? Are you fucking kidding me? There's no such thing as a good Nazi unless he's dead. That's a good Nazi. But no Nazi died in Charlottesville. But a young woman who was protesting Nazi ideology did die. I'm sure that gave Trump a real chuckle while he was scarfing down his fucking cheeseburgers that night, right? The propaganda being delivered to these college kids, according to ADL, covers, according to the report from the ADL, quote, a range of messages. The report says, quote, it may promote a white supremacist group or trumpet the urgent need to save the white race. Frequently, the propaganda attacks minority groups, including Jews, blacks, Muslims, non-white immigrants, and the lesbian gay community. Sound familiar? Who's at the top of the list? Jews, once again. I thought we all agreed never again. Now, I've said before, don't equate my attitude towards Jews with my attitude towards Israelis. I don't like what the Israelis have done and continue to do. But some of my best friends are Jews. How's that? My godson is a Jew. Molly's godfather is a Jew. Right at the top of the list of being targets, Jews again. Blacks still. Muslims, a new addition. Non-white immigrants, again. The lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender community, again. Hitler did that too, remember? There were hundreds of thousands of gay people who were butchered. The groups responsible for the majority of the propaganda being distributed on college campuses belong to the so-called alt-right, this new generation of racists and fascists and motherfuckers and sons of bitches and filthy, dirty, goddamn subhumans. The report says that one such group, Identity Europa, targeted college campuses with its propaganda 158 times, accounting for almost half of the incidents counted by the ADL. And they spell Europa instead of a U. It's the Latin U, a V. Well, Latin doesn't have a U, but, you know, to prostitute the Latin language. These fucking right-wingers wouldn't know Latin if one came up and bit it on the ass. But there it is, Identity Europa. The terrible part about Identity Europa, they don't do the traditional white supremacist imagery and language. They use more innocuous-sounding slogans like, our generation, our future, our last chance. That sounds to me like, ein Volk, ein Staat, ein Führer. Doesn't it? Our generation, our future, our last chance. Ein Volk, ein Staat, ein Führer. There's another group. There's one called the Atomwaffen Division, or if they're going to do it in the German, Atomwaffen Division. This group of fucking psychos posted flyers on college campuses directly threatening minority groups featuring Nazi imagery. Jesus Christ. The ADL report offers further evidence of a emboldened and increasingly active white supremacist movement in the U.S., and you know that's because of this filthy pig son of a bitch, Donald Trump. And, of course, the movement gained international attention back in August when the pigs, grunting and squealing like the pigs they are, held that nighttime march through the campus of the University of Virginia in Charlotte, carrying their tiki torches. Where have you seen that before, huh? I'll tell you where you can see it. Go online. Look up Nuremberg Rally, 1936, 1937. And there you see a whole massive herd of swine carrying lighted torches to the glory of Adolf Hitler and his death machine. And here it fucking is again. What are we doing about it? Huh? What are we doing about it? Truth seekers? Are we ever going to do anything about it? Let me ask you something. You're not in the military. You're not in law enforcement. You're like me, just an average Joe. Are you willing to give your life to defend this republic against this internal destructive force to protect the country against all enemies, foreign and domestic? Who takes that oath? Are you willing to protect this country against the domestic enemies who are tearing it apart right now, who are ripping it to shreds, who are putting American against American? Are you? It's a question I think about all the time. I'm just tossing it out there for your consideration. Or are you going to be a good German and just go about your business? Because, well, you know, you don't have time to get politically involved. If that is your answer, then you are selling out your own country. If you don't like hearing that, I don't give a shit, because that's what you're doing. White supremacists killed twice as many people in 2017 as they did in 2016, according to a separate ADL report published last month. The day after the demonstration in Charlottesville that killed the young woman, the largest gathering of white supremacists in over a decade, were part of a violent pro-Donald Trump rally in that city. You know what I want? This is miserable, and I hate to say it, but I want everyone who votes Republican, who is, the millionaires and billionaires don't give a fuck. But anyone who's not, who votes Republican, I want you people to suffer like a storm hit you. Trump is taking away every single protection, every single social safety net. I want to see some of you old fuckers who voted for Trump. I want you to open up your Social Security check and see that the goddamn thing has been slashed. I want you to find out when you go to use your Medicare card that it's no fucking good anymore. This is what's coming down the pike for you. Do you not get it? And you military people that support this phony son of a bitch, what are you going to do when you come home and the VA office is closed, or they don't have the right kind of medication for you, or they don't give a shit whether you walk or not ever again? Because of budget cuts, because of staff cuts, because of everything. Because Trump is a goddamn liar and a criminal and a fascist son of a bitch on the par with Hitler. What is wrong in this country that nobody understands this? Unbelievable.